168 hours in a week. 168. I don't care who you are. You could be Elon Musk. You could be Mike DeJong. You only get 168 hours in a week. That's it. How are you going to use them?
Welcome to Fry Your Chickens, the podcast about facing fears, negativities, and self-doubts that can hold us back. Or as I like to call them, chickens. Get ready because it's time to tell those chickens that are holding you back to shut the cluck up. We will learn how real people did exactly that. I'm your host, Phil Barth. Let's get ready to fry. 82% of all franchise owners report working in their business and not on their business. My guest today has a way of getting right to the heart of why so many business owners feel trapped in a routine, and he speaks from real experience. He's had a journey from multi-unit operations manager to successful bakery owner and author. He gives relatable wisdom. He also flies airplanes, and we talked before we started the recording. He's got all kinds of cool stories for us. Please welcome to the podcast, Mike DeJong. Did I pronounce your name right?
You sure did.
Okay.
Thanks, Phil. I really appreciate you having
No,
me.
we don't have to back up. Welcome to the Fry Your Chickens podcast, Mike.
Thanks. Yeah, no, it's exciting to be here. I was telling you earlier, I want to tell the guests, anyone that's got a hockey stick on their back wall next to an Elmo, I know I'm going to have a fun conversation.
Yeah, and to make it even more fun, that is chicken dancing Elmo. We'll get to him in a bit. He actually does the chicken dance. It's right on brand with.
Yeah, well, you were normal, so
I was.
yeah.
Now, some people have debated that. They said, no, I knew you before you got your first rubber chicken. See, it's before my first rubber chicken. Yeah, and you weren't.
It's a sliding scale.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So tell me about your background. Let's just start there. Tell me about your background because it's fascinating.
How far back do you want to go, Phil? I was born and
Perfect.
I grew up in a steel town in northern Canada, and Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. It's right on the Great Lakes.
Mhm.
It's amazing. I was a block and a half from watching the ore freighters just move down the St. Mary's River, making for Whitefish or from Whitefish Bay, and moving coke and coal and limestone, and down the street was a Ministry of Natural Resources hangar for their float planes. They're blasting off on the river, and I just saw this stuff, and I just always been enthralled with this idea of adventure and going places and flying airplanes. So I figured out how to fly airplanes. And that was a lot of fun for a few years, and I realized that's not my life's work. That's not my passion. So I went and got an engineering degree, and that was a lot of fun. That took me all over the world. Steel mills all over the world is where I ended up, literally. And they don't put the steel mills in the nice countries. It's like, have you been to fill in the blank country? I'm like, yeah. Have you seen it? I'm like, no, I didn't go to any resorts. I've seen the ugly underbelly of that country. Wonderful people, people are the same everywhere. It's amazing. When I see all this political infighting, I'm like, just go talk to the people. The people are fine.
Hello. Yep.
And that was great. I got to use my flying for not the international part of the steel mills. That didn't make sense. But anything in the US or Canada, I flew myself to, which is a lot of fun. And then I ended up in corporate America and did operations. I had at any time 7 states and a few thousand units I was responsible for, which was just very educational on how to run teams and how to live in the corporate network. And then, like a lot of people that work in corporate America, you wake up one day and go, "Why the heck am I doing this?" And but I'm going to throw this out there because I think it's on brand. I was chicken shit, and I would not just go start a business. So I found a great franchise. The first one I joined was Nothing But Cakes,
Oh,
and they
nice.
are amazing. I got into them when there was about 250 locations, and they were opening 20-ish a year, and now they're just starting to explode across the country. People are really starting to recognize them. Built the first one in Wisconsin and blew it up almost double what a normal first year location would do, which was a lot of fun. But I had a lot of people to help me with that. I wasn't just all me. I go and learn from. I always want to figure out who's the best, who's the goat, right, in the area,
Hmm.
and then I go follow. I'm like, tell me what to do, and I will do it. I don't argue with them. I'm like, but I'm different. But my play, no, I just do what they tell me, and it usually works.
Yeah.
Did that, got in and out of a couple other franchises, especially ones that were failing. I kind of found a talent for going in and fixing and selling. Um, Built three more in Wisconsin, sold those recently, bought one out in Washington State, Kirkland, Washington, home of Costco. I don't think it's actually home of Costco, but we've all heard of Kirkland brand.
Yeah.
Uh,
Absolutely.
and planning to build a couple more out there. And but now my passion's kind of I wrote a book, or actually two or three now. The other two aren't out for public dissemination yet. And I love giving keynote speeches to reach out to people and kind of help them get past what we're going to talk about today, get out of the operator trap, get out of their own way, and not just high level. You need to like think like this. Like I actually love to give like this is how you freaking do it. Uh,
Nice.
Information, and then I'm firing up, starting to do some workshops and stuff like that. Because
Very
again, I
nice.
used to go to so many things where I leave like, oh, that's all great. How am I going to apply that? Like I want to set it up where I was, where I'm like, please, someone show me the path out, please. So
And that's the key. People have been successful at whatever the venture is, and I always say success leaves clues, and
yes.
sometimes failure does as well.
Oh,
So
more. Yeah.
you, there's a certain admitting you're not the smartest person in the room, and somebody else knew how to do it, and following what they laid out. And I think it's
Yeah.
really cool that you did that. Also cool about Sault Ste. Marie. I was up there when I was young. We watched the boats. My dad wanted to go up there, and we were young kids. I think we watched the boats go through the locks, if I recall
Oh, sure.
correctly.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was
absolutely.
very cool. Spent some time in Mackinac, and now I know why you like the hockey stick, the Canada background.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I have spoken in Canada twice this year. Got a third one coming up. Love going up there. Toronto, Vancouver. I wasn't in steel. I was in paper. And to
Okay.
your point, they don't put paper mills in the most glamorous cities either.
No.
Now, to be fair, we had one international paper that was in Georgetown, South Carolina, right on the beach. So frequently you would wind up staying in either Myrtle Beach or at least flying into Charleston and spending some time there. Now,
Sure.
that was
Yeah,
that was
that's
the
a nice
anomaly.
area.
That was the anomaly. That wasn't the norm where we went. I did get to go to Grand Prairie in Canada, by the way.
Oh, wow. That's
I
unusual.
enjoyed Grand Prairie. I was also glad that we got out of there in September, just before the next major snowstorm
In September.
in September. Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
no.
yeah.
Yeah, I know.
We were flying Grand Prairie to Calgary, and we had to get out of Calgary because they were forecast 6 inches of snow. Calgary to Atlanta, and Atlanta was 90.
That's accurate. I was in Calgary this spring. And I thought my girlfriend at the time, now my fiance, I thought I'll take her to the Fairmont Chateau on Lake Louise. It's a beautiful up in the mountains just west of Calgary. And I'm like, well, just it's beautiful glacier-fed lake and just gorgeous. And there's this one hotel on there and hiking trails. I forgot that it would still be frozen that time of the year. So I have pictures of her, and she's like, I don't know, 5'6", 5'8". I probably should know how tall she is. I hope she doesn't watch this. And the snow is another couple of feet above her in the snowbank still.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, okay, yeah, well, I didn't plan, but she still had a great time, and we had a great time, and it worked out great. But now I have to take her back in the summer, so which is like what, July 1st to July 15th or something. I already missed my window. Damn it.
we we were over in Ireland, and we were there for a little over a week in June, and they said, "Well, we're glad you got to come for the entire summer, and now you're taking it home with you. Go on, get."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Be gone with you. Yeah. Oh God.
All right, I want to turn it over to. You already touched on this a little bit, but we have to have a question from Darcy. So we have a question on this podcast from my puppy Darcy, who's not nearly this small anymore, but that's okay. This is all AI generated, and if they want to keep Darcy as a puppy, so be it. Here we go.
Absolutely.
So here's cute little Darcy, and she's got a question specifically for you. Had a little technical glitch, but now I think Darcy is actually ready to ask you a question. Here you go, Darcy.
Hi, Mike. I'm not a pilot, but I play one on my dad's podcast. Here's my question. What drew you to become a pilot?
All right, so Darcy, I think we touched on this a little bit, but Darcy wants to know the history of what drew you to become a pilot at first, and how did that go?
Yeah, so how did I become a pilot? It was watching those Ministry of Natural Resources planes take off on the river, like a block and a half from my house. I would literally walk down the street, and there was the hospital's right at the end of the street, which was convenient since I got in a lot of accidents as a kid, a lot of stitches. But you walk behind the hospital, and there was just this big parking lot, and then this concrete wall you could sit on, and you could watch the planes take off and land, and I was just fascinated by that. And then I just have these daydreams about where they're going and what they're doing. And I was blessed that my father loved to take us out in the wilderness fishing a lot. So, every once in a while you'd be somewhere and one of these planes would like plunk down. And it's like I just spent 4 hours hiking into this lake. uh, and then we did these wonderful family vacations, mainly by car, like tent a tent trailer near the end, but at first it was by tent, and we go on these multiple week cross country, cross the U.S., cross Canada road trips, and it just put in this sense of adventure and travel in me, and I'm like, how can I do this? And the planes and the travel and all that kind of came together. It's like, okay, the most adventurous thing I could do in my life that'll be in alignment with what I want to do. I didn't think about it like that as a kid, but as an adult, you think about it. It's like, I'm going to be a pilot. I'm going to go see the world, and that's what I'm going to do. And that's kind of the root of it all.
Mike, I love that story, and we were talking before we started the recording about how amazing the times we live in are right now. That you can be hundreds of miles away, something that would have taken days, if not weeks, to
Yeah,
travel, and you hop on a plane, and in a number of hours, you are there, right there. And
yeah.
I'm still amazed by that.
I still am too. I watch out the window every takeoff and landing. I'm looking out the window, and I like paying attention to everything that's going on. Not because I think they're going to wreck or anything, but just because I'm just endlessly fascinated by it. And I remind myself when I'm up there, I'm like, we're doing 500 miles an hour, several miles above the earth, getting fed like, drinks and food
Yeah,
and watching television. And now you could, like, if you turn it on, I usually don't because I like to have the time away, but you could text and email with people. And I'm like,
oh yeah,
this blows my mind. Like, I remember we were saying before this, I'd leave a hotel, I'd leave the fax number of the hotel I was going to be that night so they could forward my messages. Like, I'm old enough to remember when I got my first email, and it was in a steel mill in Finland in in the 90s, and I needed a tech update for something we're doing. I called our tech guys, and they're like, I'm like, FedEx this thing overnight on a disk, on a floppy. Like, well, we can send it to you via email. I'm like, what the hell's email?
right.
We had to find a computer with an internet connection in the steel mill and sign up for all this stuff. And it happened. I'm like, this is going to change the world. This is amazing. It's
It
just,
it is.
yeah.
It, it
I don't
abs-
take any of this for granted. I'm always in awe, just constantly in awe.
no, I remember as a kid, we would go on vacations occasionally, and it was normally the whatever the lowest priced hotel was what we could
Oh,
afford.
sure. Yeah.
And at one point we got a coupon for the Marriott half price, which brought it down to the normal
Right.
price.
Yeah.
And I remember it was an airport Marriott. There were planes going overhead, and I remember as a kid being by the pool thinking, "This is so cool." I there are people who get to stay at the Marriott. That's just so great. And
Yeah.
and so to this day, when I'm at a Marriott, Hilton, you name it, I never take it for granted.
Right. Isn't that
It's
great? That's
you,
a great mindset to have.
you have to channel that awestruck young child, and and you don't complain about, oh, the food wasn't good on the plane, or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you travel, and I know you've traveled enough to have this happen, there's going to be delays, there's going to be flight cancellations, you're going to spend late hours in early hours and maybe the entire night in an airport. It
Yep.
all happens. And nobody, I can guarantee you, when I came home from Ireland and I was a little jet lagged, nobody had any pity for me if I were to say, I was in Ireland for 8 days and now I'm jet lagged. Oh, poor you.
Like, shut up.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. 2 generations ago, you would have had to take a train from where you are in Ohio, to the coast and then get on a boat. And that would have taken, depending on how many years ago it was, either a week or two or three to get to Ireland.
Right.
And you
Right.
get picked up at the boat in a horse-drawn carriage. Like it's just, you would have
Yeah.
been a few weeks just getting there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So
And
obviously,
yeah, people are
good.
probably like, yeah, yeah, shut up. They're telling us. I could hear in their head, "Shut up, old man! Like you're going to tell us you walked to school uphill both ways through the snow next." Like, I'm just saying it because I am in awe. I really am every day. I live in this technology, and it just blows my mind. I love it.
So you help. I'm gonna actually go back to talking business and why you're on the
Okay.
podcast for a minute. We'll get back to the fun stuff, although this is all fun. But you help franchise owners, and as a speaker, and you have written a book. And what exactly do you do for franchise owners? Tell me about that.
I helped them escape what I was in, something called the operator trap. And the thing that makes us successful as business owners is the thing that traps us. So there's 168 hours in a week. 168. I don't care who you are. You could be Elon Musk. You could be Mike DeJong. You only get 168 hours in a week. That's it. How are you going to use them? Well, as small business owners, we tend to like work all the time,
Hmm.
morning, noon, and night, weekends, etc. And you get a certain level of success for that. But you're sitting there going, "All right, now I'm trapped. Like if I don't work, I don't make money. Everything comes through me." And this is not just the solopreneurs. These are even people that have teams.
Hmm.
Everything comes through me. It's a deadlock if I don't answer the phone. If I go on vacation, I still got to take emails and texts and phone calls and you just like, how am I going to grow? And then they make this mistake and they're like, I'm just going to open another location and then I'll have more people and then I'll have more freedom. And all they've done is scale chaos and they end up working even more hours in the day and more hours in the week, which is impossible, but it somehow happens. And you make even less money. And it's just their life is miserable and they get burned out. And I have absolutely been there. And there was a trip. The breaking point for me is I took a trip to Mexico. I was living in Wisconsin at the time, and in Wisconsin, sometimes in February you get an 80-degree day, and then the next day it snows. Sometimes the same day it snows. And I just was like, I'm done. It was one of those winters. I'm done. I have a good manager in place, finally, after several bad hires. And I'm gonna like do this freedom thing that I signed up for. And I'm gonna go down to Mexico. And this was a Sunday. And by Tuesday, I'm getting off the plane in Mexico. And Bob Marley's playing on the steel drums with a live band, and I could feel the breeze. And I'm looking at the palm trees. And I'm like, yeah, this is why I'm a business owner right here. This is great. I can't believe I get to do this. I didn't have to plan a vacation months in advance and get approved time off. Like I've made
Hmm.
it. And I turned my phone on because even though I called myself a business owner, I was absolutely an operator at the time. And it explodes. Text, 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 text. I'm like, what is going on? And then my manager calls and she was only going to call if the place burned down. And I'm like, oh crap, the place must have burned down. And she's like, no, no, it's okay. The place didn't burn down. So she answers the phone. But I want to let you know I'm quitting. I'll stay until you get back, but I'm quitting. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh,
And I immediately went to the hotel and extended my stay because I knew I wasn't going to get a another vacation for quite a long time. She's like, "You'll be back in a week." I'm like, "No, it's like 2 weeks." She's like, "Really? I wrote this date." I'm like, "No, you must have wrote it down wrong." She's probably gonna watch this and be like, "You son of a." Anyway, went to the bar, had a few too many cervezas, and then yeah, spent most of the rest of the vacation on my phone and on my laptop because I had no processes, I had no procedures, I had no SOPs. Everything I did have still fed through me. Every question, every problem went to me. It used to go to the manager, but then she's leaving, so they didn't feel like asking her anymore. So they all went through me, and I'm like, I have no freedom. I'm absolutely trapped. I recently opened a new location, and it was like not doing great because same reasons I couldn't like multiply myself and be in two places at the same time. And I'm like, okay, this is not good. Okay, I have to think about how to get out of this because I can't keep living this way. I literally can't. And quitting wasn't an option because I had kids in college, one in college and one in high school. And I'm
Right.
like, I just can't. I gotta figure this out. And I started thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking. I'm like, all right, what have you done in the past that made the businesses you've worked in successful? I'm like, well, they got all these. They have meetings, and they talk about stuff, and they write stuff down, and there's like processes for doing stuff. And then in engineering, I'm thinking it's all process based. In aviation, it's all organized and process based. I'm like, damn it, I'm gonna have to do that stuff. And I was like anti that stuff. Like you leave corporate America, you just don't want any of that
Oh,
crap.
right.
Yeah, it exists because it works.
Yep.
So so I started figuring out how to write stuff down, and then I stopped answering the phone when people would call it. And then, an hour later I text them back and be like, hey, did you remember that we have that written down in the processes folder? Oh yeah, yeah. I looked it up after I called you. And after a while they stop calling you and they start looking for how to do it. And I started testing it by taking shorter more local vacations. And
Hmm.
whatever they'd call me on, I'm like, all right, I got to fix that next time. Oh yeah, that's right. I'm the tech support. Okay, I have to find a local tech support guy. Oh, that's right. I'm the only one with the password to the phone system. I'll have to make sure that we fix that. Like just things, bubble up. And now I teach people. I'm like, all right, how do you know if you're an operator or an owner? It's like, well, it's my business. It's got my name on it. I must be an owner. I'm like, I'm not saying you don't own the business, but are
Hmm.
you operating it? Or are you being like strategic? Are you doing the day to day? And I asked them to ask them this question. It's like, can you take a long weekend vacation? Yeah, all the time. Can you take a long weekend vacation where you left your laptop and your phone at home? And you could see it in their face. They're like
Yeah.
I can't. And they're like, usually they're reaching for their stomach. They just have this sinking feeling in my stomach. It's like, I can't. But I don't have time to write these procedures, Mike. I don't have time. I'm already working all the time, all the time. And we get in a whole different discussion on productivity versus work,
Right.
actual getting stuff
Right.
done. But I just meet them where they're at. I'm like, all right, well, how about the next time you go on the place where you order something, you turn on Loom or Descript, or even just hold your cell phone up and record yourself and say, okay, I'm going to the ABC website and I click on this menu and then I go to this sub menu and I'm ordering these things, and you just record it. And then I tell them, don't look at it because you'll want to change everything because everyone hates the way they look and hates the way they
Right.
sound. And I did, and then you, go over here. Oh, no, 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 you don't go over there. You go over here. Crap, that's not right. Just, it doesn't matter. Just hand it off to someone and ask them to do it. And if they could do it, you got your first procedure.
That's great.
And then just keep going up the line. I used to say, take the big swings. I learned you can't take the big swings. Go for the little easy
Hmm.
piddly stuff first. Build the dopamine hits in the brain. Like, ooh, I
100%.
won. Ooh, I won. Ooh, I won. And as you work up the chain, you can start building more and more. And then you get the people in your business to start doing the stuff that you actually don't know that you think you do. Um, and you start getting all that recorded and detailed. And if it has to be written out now in this wonderful age we live in, you can take that recording and dump it in your favorite AI tool and get a transcript of it and give it all like polished up where it takes all the ums and ahs out. And
Yep.
and 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 bingo, you can start removing yourself from the operation. And the next piece of that is hiring the right people. But that's the start. That's where it really begins, is getting everything written down.
That is absolutely huge. I I'm picking up a couple little pointers here. I Earlier this year I would look at my calendar, and speaking of AI, I used AI to help enforce this because it won't let me off the hook like I might let myself off the hook. But it was okay, look, divide your business like they divide into the Boston Consulting Group matrix, right? There, you've got your stars, your dogs, your cash cows, and the other one, which question marks, right?
Yeah, okay.
And so the question is, when I look at my calendar, where am I spending my time? Is it on any of those categories, or is it putting out fires?
Hmm.
And so I was very intentional about saying 1 hour per day is going to be on the question marks. Those new ideas that could be generating new streams of revenue, new ideas, things with AI. If you're learning about AI, an hour isn't nearly enough, but
No.
1 hour there. And then 3 on the stars, those ideas that need to be keep moving until they become the cash cows. And no more than an hour on them. Because if all you're doing is trying to keep your core business fighting fires in that, that's a problem. So what I never thought of, and I will now be doing it, is recording myself saying, okay, here's one of the problems I'm fighting, blah, 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 screen capture. It's so easy. And to your point, AI can absolutely, if you need to pretty it up, pretty it up. So
Yeah.
that is so cool.
Yeah.
In fact, it's so cool, I forgot the next question I'm going to ask you. But now I remember. Tell me about your book.
So it's called Grow Smart, and it was originally called Grow Fast. And then I'm like, that doesn't work so well. We actually took a piece of duct tape and put it over the label fast and wrote smart on top of that because that's what it's about. And it's people say that I write in a very direct manner, like do this and then do this and then do this. And that's just Mike's engineering brain coming out. So not a lot of flour in there, but it really goes through chapter by chapter. Like, here's how you identify if you're an operator or you're an owner. Like we have a little test. And then, all right, what do we need to do to kind of move forward from there? And it's start building some processes and start building some procedures and even some simple stuff. Like you don't really some people are afraid of AI. Fine, be afraid of AI. Use some tools that are already built in. Like manage your email by putting rules in place. If in Outlook, if you're using Outlook, right click on an email, click rules, and say every time this comes in, automatically move it to my trash pile.
Yes.
And even that little thing, well, that's just easy just to hit the delete button on it. It's like, no, you're taking up time that you're never going to get back. Just setting up processes and tools that can automate things simply, and even more now with AI. We could go into multiple hours of discussion on that, I'm sure, but that's not the point of what we're going to talk about today. And then it's looking at people. And when you start looking at people, I say you have to start looking at yourself because I talk about these three, and I don't talk about this in the book. That'll be in the next book. The three business archetypes. And we have all heard about, you got your charismatic leader and your bureaucratic leader and your militaristic leader and your manager leader. And like, there's so many leader titles out there. And I'm a pretty simple guy. I need simple things. So I put them into three simple buckets. And I call them the hunter, the architect, and the GSD. And the world's probably made up of 5 to 10% hunters, 5 to 10% architects at any, swath of group of people, business owners in a room, and the rest are the GSD types. And GSD stands for exactly what you think it does. The the get stuff done, obviously, because we're going to keep this PG.
Right.
People. And once you know which one you are,
there's only one word we bleep on the podcast. Well, I've never heard the other word that I would also bleep, but shit is just fine.
Okay. I don't want to know what words you bleep on the podcast. So
I would say there's a very small chance you would say them.
Very, very. I could guess, but I'm not going to.
Well, because when they happen, all I do is on the recording. It's just and then there is no word.
It just moves on.
It just moves on.
It just moves on. You figure out which one of these you are. There's a few simple questions to figure that out usually. And this is the one that is your emotional and business and leadership home. We could all do all three. Some of us maybe are really good at two of them. I've never met anyone that's really good at all three. But you all have like a home, and we default to it. And then when we hear people in the other bucket, like let's say if you're a GSD, let's define them a minute. The GSD literally is the person that gets shit done. They're like, I'm going to get to the end of this task, come hell or high water. We're just going to figure it through. I don't need a process. I'm going to do it a little different every time. I don't say that to myself, but like, I don't care. I just need to get to the result. I need to get to 8. I don't care if it's 7 plus 1. I don't care if it's 5 plus 3. I don't care if it's 4 plus 4. Freaking get me to 8. Then you get your architect. They're like, well, obviously 4 plus 4 is the most efficient way to 8. And everyone knows that. And if you go from this to this to this to this to this, you're going to get there in the best, most economical way every time. And you're driving me crazy by not doing it in a process. And then, as a for example, and then you have your hunters, and those are the people that I say like be like squirrel. Shiny object syndrome, woman in the red dress. They're like, oh, we really need to implement this in ours. Oh, we really should change it. Like, hey, what about this? Oh, I just found this new deal. You know what? I'm going to completely change my business. I was selling blue widgets, but now we're going to get out of the widget business and we're going to sell dog treats because I think dogs are the future. And if you have anyone working for you, your GSDs are like, oh my God, I just figured out how to do the first thing. I'll figure it out. It's fine. I'm going to get it done. And the architect's like, I just no, they're vibrating, right? Like I just wrote this new procedure. And as humans, we like to talk and hang out with people that are the same as us. It's just our nature.
Right.
So if you're a GSD and you're good at getting stuff done, but you really need an architect to help operationalize stuff. And you probably really need a hunter to go bring in some more leads into your business.
Mm-hmm.
But when you speak to the marketing people, they're like, oh my God, those marketing people, they just talk, and they're like, they're on the phone and they're going and having lunch and all they do is party. And they're like, I don't have time for them. Like they don't get anything done. And those architects, all they want to do is tell me how to do my job. Like I just get the result done. What does it matter how I get the job done? And so you can see like people don't jive, but once they have a realization of who they are, now they could find the right people to fit those other two roles. Whether you 1099 them or bring them into your business entirely, like, and then you have to like fix up here that like, okay, now I have to learn to speak their language or at least understand what they're talking to me and put my frustrations aside because they do look at the world differently. But for my business to grow, I need to fill that hole. And that's kind of the next step is figuring out who you are so you can figure out which holes you got to plug.
Yeah. I thought I was GSD when you started, but I'm a hunter. I can tell you right now I'm a hunter. There are days when I will have a list and see how many things I can get done. But it's more because it's a challenge for a hunter. But I would seriously,
I'm laughing when you're telling about what you're doing. Like I'm doing an hour for this hour. I'm not like, oh, he's a hunter. I already had you pegged.
Yeah, absolutely. I had to force myself, right? Yeah, you had it right. I was at breakfast, sitting at breakfast with my wife. This goes back a couple of years, and we were talking, and a squirrel jumped up on the table on our deck outside the kitchen. And wow, squirrel. She goes, really? This time it literally was a squirrel? Yes, it was. But I tell people there's nothing wrong with doing that.
No.
To some extent, because here's what happened. I had this thought pop into my head. I was creating a QR code for my website, and I used Google at the time, and they put that little T-Rex in the middle.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Right? I said, that T-Rex is just occupying space. There's no way it's necessary for the QR code.
Correct.
So squirrel pops into my head in the hunter, and I took a little picture of a rubber chicken and put it in the middle of the square. I now had a rubber chicken QR code for my website. And
Beautiful.
then the next squirrel comes in and says, if you could put a chicken on a QR code, why can't you put a QR code on a chicken? And so those are my business cards now. And,
brilliant.
and people 2 years later say, yeah, I've still got your business card sitting on my desk, sitting on my table. So there is a need for the hunters. I won't outsource the hunting, but
because that's your natural home. And people struggle with their natural home. They're like you. They're like, I'm a GSD. I'm good at getting stuff done. No, you've learned to do that, but your home is you want to be a hunter.
My home is hunter, and I can tell you right now, architect, no can do. No can do. That probably doesn't surprise you to hear that, but no can do.
Would it surprise you to hear that I thought it was an architect with the engineering and aviation background? And then as I'm working in my small businesses, I'm like, well, I must be a GSD because I'm the one that's actually getting all the stuff done. And then one day I kind of woke up and went, no, I freaking hate being an architect. I hate doing that stuff. That's why I stopped doing it when I started my own business.
Right.
And I'm bitter that I'm the one here first and I'm the one here last. So obviously I'm not a real good GSD. Oh crap, I'm a hunter. But it took me a minute to get there. Someone else could have pointed at me in a minute and said, yeah, like you're freaking a hunter. But inside, we have these ideas about ourselves.
Oh, absolutely. I think one of the best assessments, whether you're doing a disc profile, or how do I handle conflict management, et cetera, is ask the person's significant other.
Yes.
I came home from a day-long learn how you handle conflict thing and told my wife, and I said, and there are 5 ways. She goes, this is your primary, this is your secondary. I'm like, okay, well, anybody needs me, I'll be down in the office.
Playing with your chicken? No, I'm sorry, was that?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, and I don't know if you know the disc profile.
I
But
do. Yeah.
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 So she said, same deal. She said you're an I, except before you've had your first cup of coffee in the morning, and then you're a total D. So
She's funny.
she is. She knows me
Yeah.
well too. Yeah. That line got huge laughs at the last keynote I was in.
I bet.
And those who know me were like, damn, your wife knows you well. Anyway, speaking of the hunter archetype, tell me where you are right now and tell me the rest of the story.
Sure. Well, we were talking a little bit before the podcast.
Right.
I'm in Breckenridge, Colorado. If I were to open that drapes back there, you'd have a beautiful view of the mountains, but it would completely wash it out. So I'm sorry, I'm not going to do that. My face would be like this. I tried it. I'm like, I want to give them the mountains. I'm like, no, we can't do that. And I'm going to be in the greater Colorado area for about 3 weeks, just bumping around because last December, I I've sold basically everything. If it doesn't fit in my car, I don't want it. And became mobile. And freedom for me is spending 4 to 6, maybe 8 weeks bouncing around the country, figuring out where I want to live because my kids are growing. One's an airline captain, and the other one's getting her doctorate. So they're in a good spot. They don't need me to be at home anymore. And my businesses that I had in Wisconsin are all sold, so didn't need to be there anymore. I love Wisconsin, great state, but I'm like, do I want to live the rest of my life here? I don't know.
How do you know?
So I started moving around. So I spent a few months in Florida, a few months in Texas. Now we're spent a little bit in Virginia. That's where the fiance spent most of her last 27 years, and convinced her to go on the road with me, which is great. And now, now we're in Colorado for a few weeks. And where are we going after this? Well, there'll be some Wisconsin. I'm hosting a TEDx event this fall in Oconomowoc, Wisconsin, our second annual, which is a lot of fun. I love bringing in these smart people and hearing them talk. So that's a lot of fun. And I got some stuff going on in Texas in October and Chicago in September. And I think my parents are having their 80th birthday party in August, so maybe I should
cool.
go to that. I don't know. So
Probably, yeah.
but I figure it out a few weeks at a time, and I'm just having a great time doing it.
I love that story. We were talking before, as you mentioned, we were talking before the recording. I said, that I want to hear about. So I think that's a great way to do it. We have the roots down in Ohio, but at the same time, I get to travel to speak. So in June, it was Canada, Washington, D.C., Cleveland, and Ireland. And
that's a pretty diverse.
Yeah. So, and it all worked out. So I'm originally from west of Cleveland. So I have the tears of the Cleveland sports fan.
West of Cleveland, Sandusky.
Yes, just across the way in Marblehead.
Sure. I mean, get the world's top thrill dragster roller coaster right there. Can't forget about that. And there was a steel mill in Lorraine I used to go to once in a while, and then LTV East and West in downtown Cleveland.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know my Rust Belt.
Yes, you do. You knew the top thrill dragster roller coaster. I never had the courage to get on. Okay, so there's that. But I do have a great story about what happens when you try to ride a roller coaster when you're 50 years old.
So, is now the appropriate time, or is that like after the podcast?
It's in my keynote. It just
okay. I'll wait. I'll find your peak keynote then, and I'll hear it there.
It's out there. It's out there.
Yeah.
It's all about stepping out of your comfort zone. So,
that's where the magic happens.
It is.
The more uncertainty you could take in your life, the happier you're going to be. The more you're going to grow.
Yeah, and everybody's comfort zone is different. It doesn't necessarily have to be something that you look back on and go, well, I almost threw up on a roller coaster. That was nice. But your comfort zone mentally, your comfort zone in any way, just doing new things, I think, is what keeps us alive.
Yes. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. So one of the things we like to do on the Fry Your Chickens podcast is ask the most important question in the world. Last year, if you were watching, or last season, if you were watching, we usually introduced it with a heavy metal band that was AI created. Well, of course, AI has moved forward, so we're trying different styles of music. And for today's podcast, we will be having the Big Band Bears live to ask the most important question. Are we ready? Here we go.
It's time for the big question. The
So there you have it. The Big Band Bears Live. That I'm going to say that was one of the better ones we've put together on the podcast. You didn't have the Country Bear Jamboree effectively for those. It was a ripoff. I didn't mean for it to be a ripoff of the Country Bear Jamboree, but it was, and it was bad. Apologies to the guest. You know who you are. So,
well, it's a simple answer. It's a simple answer. I will take the bear-sized chicken.
Okay.
Because I like to know what my one worthy opponent is versus 100 ankle biters. Like I could be fighting them over here and they could sneak up on me back here. It would be terrible. So yeah, just having that one that I could focus my attention on and I could do my Jedi mind tricks on.
Ooh, Jedi. Okay, in all the times we've done that, that's the first time we've had Jedi mind tricks coming up. That makes it a very good answer.
I wonder if a chicken-sized bear or chicken-sized bear you said is like if you meet a bear in the wild, and I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I've met a few, and they've always been very cordial encounters. I'm like, hey bear, and it kind of looks at you, and it's like I'm just here, man. And then I mean you no harm, and they kind of scurry away. I've never met a grizzly, but that's worked for brown and black bears.
Yeah.
And so bears I've always said you could reason with. Like I never want to meet a moose in the wild because they're just angry. I think it's because they hold those big, racks on their head and they're just pissed off all the time. Like they'll just stomp you to death just because they feel like it.
Yep.
So I'm wondering if the bear-sized chicken is more like an actual bear or more like the moose, because that could change my answer.
Well, so if it was a moose-sized chicken or 100 chicken-sized moose is moose.
No, it is moose. It is moose.
Moosies.
Mooses.
So 100 of those, yeah. Well, and people have asked questions. For example, they say, well, if it's chicken-sized grizzly bears, that's probably a problem. But if it's chicken-sized koala bears, they're all going to go to sleep. Chicken-sized gummy bears, not a problem at all.
That's true.
And we leave it intentionally vague like that just to encourage really off-the-wall discussions like what we're having now. and yeah, it was originally a horse-sized chicken or 100 chicken-sized horses, but one of the guests pointed out that horses are herbivores. So you want something a little scarier. And yeah, the bears that would bite your ankle at least make it interesting because, as people have pointed out, chickens are nothing more than an egg-laying dinosaur, basically, and can be very mean if you are smaller than them. So other people have pointed out that
they're mean to each other. If they smell blood from one of them, they'll just go after each other. It's terrible. Absolutely terrible. Don't look it up. Do not look it up. You'll regret it.
Oh, no. There are certain things in life that I've heard that I don't need to see photographic and or video evidence of, and that would be one of them.
Yeah.
I had a guest talking about, this is going to drive me nuts. Henpecked, right?
Oh, yeah.
The hens have a hierarchy.
Yes.
And whichever one's at the bottom, well, sucks to be you.
Yeah.
Gets pecked by all the other hens. So
and they don't look too healthy either.
No, they're mean. The ones that survive.
Right.
Okay. So there you have it.
Yeah, I just love having a great adversary. Like, ooh, a worthy opponent.
A worthy opponent, it would be.
It's like the ankle biters. Like we've all heard about the 80-20 rule. And I can't remember the gentleman that came up with the 80-20 rule, doctor, whatever, but it doesn't matter. It's just.
Oh God, that's Pareto principle.
The Pareto principle. Thank you. I'm going to try to remember.
Put a squirrel out there. I had to chase it down. Pareto.
You had to chase it down. Because so many of us, as we're going through, like, what type of archetype are we, and what can I do to grow my business, and how do I get out of the operator trap? It's, I got to do this next hard thing. So we'll clean our desk, or go do something else, or do something we like to do, or spend a lot of time doing something that we don't need to do, versus hitting that one or two worthy opponents, I call it. Mm-hmm. The one or two things that could actually drive the business forward and accelerate and leapfrog you into like the next, generational wealth, if that's what you're looking for, or impact, if that's what you're looking for, or, whatever you want. And we avoid it. We just avoid it because we're stressed, which is a code word for fear. But we don't like to say that word. And why are we afraid? Well, because if we fail, then I'm not going to be loved. If I'm not going to be loved, that's going to feel like crap. And next thing you know, I'll be living in a cardboard box underneath a bridge. Like, this is just This is just terrible. So, but you don't think that. You just go clean your desk rather than moving forward, taking that big swing and working on that 20% of things that's going to give you 80% of the results. So,
Agree.
yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And it's Brian Tracy, and I know other people have said it too. Eat the frog. Whatever's the worst thing on your plate,
Yeah.
do it first.
Yes. Yeah. Totally
And I'm
true.
proud to say my desk is a mess.
Yeah, but not your mind.
And I applaud you for having spoken with me for an hour and thinking my mind is not a mess. I appreciate that very much.
It just works in a unique way, as does mine. So that's a beautiful thing. Doesn't mean it's a mess.
It is. It is. And that's why I had to do the podcast the way I do the podcast, because that's the one I want to do. That's how my mind works. Singing dogs, singing bears,
And
great
chickens.
discussions. And chickens. Lots and lots of chickens. Can't let the dog in the office now. There's one on the floor.
That's right. It's
Mike,
awesome.
it has been incredible talking to you. Where can people find you?
LinkedIn or MikeDeJong.com.
Okay.
And that's if you want to email me, Mike at MikeDeJong.com.
Okay.
We'll put some events and some stuff out there so that people can get connected and have some tactical. We could go even deeper for hours and hours how to apply this stuff, not the few minutes we're able to talk about it on the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. I will put all of the links in the show notes. So,
Thank you.
Mike, thank you again for being my guest on the Fry Your Chickens podcast. Wish you nothing but the best. And if you're out there listening, keep on frying.
It's been an honor to be here. Thank you.
Hey, it's Phil. Like today's show? Well, you'll clucking love my Fry Your Chickens newsletter on LinkedIn and Substack. Links are in the notes.